Hey folks, welcome back to GV Reactions. I hope you're well. I hope you've been having a fabulous day. It's now bank holiday, so I hope you've had a great weekend. And for sure, it feels like a nice short week when you've only got 4 days to work. So, and also, yeah, before I forget, big thank you to everybody who has subscribed to this channel. I really, really do appreciate that. As I'm trying to build this channel up a little bit more now. I still play music that I haven't heard of and it's less well known, so I don't tend to follow any algorithms. But this next track is one that I have heard, I have to be honest. I haven't heard it for a long time, and it's one of those that doesn't get played very much on commercial radio. So this is from Spandau Ballet, and I don't think I've ever seen this performed on stage, so this is a live version from Applauso, and the track in question is Musclebound. On this particular show, they performed 3 tracks. To cut a long story short, The Freeze and I think finally Musclebound. And this was taken from this show on the 18th of July 1981. So it's a couple of months after the actual track was released, which was April 1981. And that track peaked at number 10 in the UK Top 40. So this track is taken from the album Journeys to Glory, which is indeed their debut album. We have Tony Hadley on vocals, Gary Kemp on synths and guitars, Martin Kemp on bass, Steve Norman on guitars, and John Keeble on drums. So without further ado, I'm really interested to kind of try and figure out what this song is about. And this is one of the reasons why I do react to songs that I have heard in the past, because I really want to try and understand them a little bit more, as during those periods that I lived through when these songs were new, I wasn't really listening to much regarding the lyrics. I just kind of got the vibe off the song and, just went about my business as a kid, having fun and stuff, but never sat down and dissected the lyrics or anything like that. So it's nice to actually revisit these songs and have a closer look at them. So indeed, yeah, this is Musclebound by Spandau Ballet. Have a very new romantic look about them right now. Yeah, sorry to pause it there. I just wanted to say I'm loving the look of Spandau Ballet in his song, and it's weird because when I think of Spandau Ballet, I kind of do go to that image of True, where they're all suited and booted, and they look like they're ready for the most expensive nightclub experience ever, in their matching suits, and it all looked very kind of suave and sophisticated. But seeing them on stage here, it just reminds you of the roots, the new romantic roots. I know they used to go to the Blitz Club. I think they frequented there quite a bit. I'm not sure what Martin Kemp's wearing. It's like some kind of sackcloth. I don't know where he's wearing tights. How cold it is in that studio, it's hard to say. But just watching their style, it kind of really makes you kind of think of Europeans, and even their name Spandau Ballet. I think I'd say that was a German prison. I think so. And a lot of their songs kind of evoke, just these ideas and notions of some part of European history somewhere that we've missed. So, you know, Musclebound, it feels like there's something going on, and the slow build of it kind of feels a little bit, what's the word, Eurasian, maybe Russian. It's very interesting song, and it's very different from the Freeze and To Cut Long Story Short, in its pacing as well, which makes it a nice comparison, a nice contrast to those two tracks. So let me just take that back a little bit. Sorry about that quiet as well, very quiet this song is. I'm loving the bass in this. I'm liking this. Okay, I think that was it. So it was Spandau Ballet with Musclebound, and I'm really sort of the only vibe I can take from the actual song lyrics that I was maybe that they're singing about a chain gang, like, not necessarily an American chain gang, but the kind of chain gang you get in any sort of prison system where you're going out, you're somehow beholden to other people, maybe as a prisoner, maybe you're just doing some really hard labour, hard graft, and you're sort of slaving away, working, labouring that's the vibe I'm sort of getting. So I'm not sure whether it's any specific reference, but I think Spandau Ballet were really good at creating a vibe that creates a picture of something else, somewhere else, some people, and it really kind of gives you images, and definitely I can't remember what the video was like for this, so I can't really say if I've got a comparison to make. Actually, I don't even know if I've seen a video to this. Might have to look out for that and see if there's any theme to that. But Tony Hadley's voice is amazing, and I think I've underappreciated that in later songs where like True, Gold, and some of the 80s stuff that they did, later 80s, sort of into the mid 80s, I should say. But when you hear his voice in a record like this, it kind of really raises the whole level of a track to something else. It's almost like some people have a voice that they're good at just delivering the lyrics, and the music kind of takes care of the rest. But I think with Tony Hadley's voice, it's almost like it's probably naive, cliche to say it's like a second instrument. It kind of really does a lot of work to give a song a whole different dimension, multiple dimensions. And I think because of a certain sound that his voice carries, it's very, very good for these kinds of records. And yeah, it obviously changes a little bit when it goes into the smooth tracks in 83, 84, that kind of stuff. But yeah, these earlier tracks, his voice really, really stands out for me as pretty amazing. Yeah, so let's have a quick look at the lyrics. We're building fires that will burn until morning. The smell of books and hot stone surrounds us. I'm not sure whether that's just been poetic, but the smell of books and hot stone surrounds us. I wonder if that's alluding to something to do with Nazi Germany and the burning of books. Tough is the leather that's strapped to my skin. Strong are the bonds that we make. Again, I'm not sure if this is just setting a vibe for the song that I'm going to ask you, if there's any sort of meaning to this song in general. Please let me know, because it's intriguing to a degree, because it does. I mean, like the smell of books does allude to something of historical value. I mean, I suppose there's been certain times in history where books have been burnt, and it's usually not a good thing. We feel the steam as it rises around us, up from the soil that is cracking its back. Tough is the leather that straps my skin, stronger the bonds that we sing. I mean, it definitely feels like, there's some sort of hard labour going on, that everything feels like it's tough, it's painful, it's work till you're muscle bound all night long, work till you're muscle bound all night long. We're building the fires that will burn till morning. The smell of books, hot stone surrounds us. To feel the pulsing from chanter to mountain. I don't know what a chanter is. To feel the pulsing from chanter to mountain, down through the vein and into the grain. Strong is the shoulder that moves to the time. Here is a land it can break. So it feels like, doing a working together. And I think there are groups of people that work in sort of unison, physically work. And I keep coming back to like a feeling of a chain gang of some kind, where everyone is, maybe chanting and as they're working, and singing a cadence of some kind. Work till you muscle bound all night long. Got to work till you muscle bound all night long. I think it was interesting. I think it was a very interesting palette of sounds and vocals, creating a picture, a narrative in our minds. If it does allude to something, it's a little bit abstract, and it probably needs explaining to me. But I think it's just that kind of general painting of a picture of, you know, hardship, hard labour. Maybe you're interred, you're in prison, um, and yeah, you know, it's and it kind of transports us to somewhere other than, well, I live in the UK, so other than the UK, to something else, a different land, but you know, with the same sort of problems, but different ways of dealing with, different ways of dealing with labour distribution, I suppose. A really interesting song, and I'm surprised it doesn't get played more on the radio. I'm surprised that there's a lot of Spandau Ballet songs that don't get the airplay that I would have naturally, you know, expected, really, because tracks like The Freeze, to cut long story short, I'm trying to think of, there was one that I reacted to, which was Chant Number One. I don't often hear that. I mean, I don't listen to the radio that often, but I just don't often hear that on the radio. And I think it's sad, really, because anyone who's like younger would have to, especially if they're reacting to Spandau Ballet songs, would have to understand that there's more to them than just gold and true. I mean, even Instinction was, it's not it's not a very well played song. I mean, I don't think I've actually heard Instinction played on a radio either. And that was, that was when they sort of they were moving into that different period of their music. Yeah, Lifeline, that's another one. You don't get heard played. So many good tracks. Communication is another one. They tend to play. I've heard Off Life for You and the stuff from the summer of 1984. They play a lot of that. So they must imagine it kind of appeals to a certain audience, I'm sure. But it's just so many people are missing out. And if there's anybody who is reacting to Spandau Ballet, please, react to some of their older stuff. You might be like really pleasantly surprised. So yeah, guys, please let me know what you think. Join me in the comments below. Obviously, this was a sort of a review and a revisit to a track that I haven't heard for a long time. And this is also a live set. I think it might have been completely live. I'm not sure. I'm quite naive when it comes to live music, and other people can spot these things straight away. But yeah, so just join me in the comments below. I'd love to read your thoughts on this. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Have a great day. Have a great week.